Try this one from the top. Hey everyone, my name is Harvey Hargett, and I did my research and topic on digital communication and analog communication signal comparisons. All right, so in my paper, how I broke it down, I started, with an abstract, and I talked about some of the highlights, characteristics that I was gonna go over. Some of the advantages and limitations that evolve around the analog to digital conversions. By examining efficiency, signals, quality, noise, resilience, things of that kind. The two paradigms I've talked about, how they really align with our real life and real world applications. So, yeah, I'm going to touch bases on the communication, uh, pretty much of the defining stages of the principles and the overview of both topics, the analog and digital. I'll talk about some of the common applications, and one of them I would like to really sit on and show you exactly, or talk about exactly how we have evolved in today's time. Because I'm 41, so I was around when Atari started, and we had the rotary phones. Didn't have cell phone communication when I was in school. Nevertheless, some of the televisions, they were floor models. It was analog services and signals that were being provided, so it made a huge difference on where you were positioned, what kind of antenna you had attached. Channels kind of, you had to use to toggle in between, back and forth. So those things are real to me. That's why I chose to engage in this topic. So one thing I'm gonna say is, analog, like I mentioned, it is kind of, it's represented as a continuous signal, changing signal. All right, the word analog, means this signal change can be gradual or significant, right? So best represented as a physical wave. So we'll talk about how I'm gonna talk about that a little bit here. So in analog, when I say that, I mean, it's one way to think about this. All right, I'm gonna break that down. Analog signal is trying to kind of reproduce an exact, a precise type of signal. All right. So what's going on while digital is trying to signal is converting it. All right. Usually ones and zeros, which then can be converted back, simultaneously. So almost any type of information can be looked at like this. So, and in this sense, I'm talking about how strong a signal can be. It can be like a hue, brightness of an object, color, something that represents a number. So whether you're trying to transmit any kind of analog communication or digital, it really about how you communicate the number. All right. So I'm gonna use 55 for example, and let's say you're trying to communicate the number 55 to someone, right? Uh, Something simple. I'm trying to. One way you can do it is in an analog communication type signal, right? So as time going on, maybe it's some type of voltage or something, power structure, some voltage going across a line or something. Let me just leave it at that. And you're interpreting that as 55, right? The number 55 is the ideal signal. So you transmit that, and you might be nice and smooth and clean, and you can see it as 55. Now the problem with analog signals, they're kind of spotty. They're prone to interference. So let's say you got a real long wire, right? You're trying to transmit that signal across, right? And you're using a radio wave, and there's a lot of bad weather happening, and that type of interference, you won't be able to receive the end transmission so clear. So You might look like you said the number 55, but the other person, with all the, let's say, traffic, and, they might get a distorted number somewhere in a range of between 45 and 65. The number, if you look at a chart, it'd be like a garbled up message or something. It's not representing the 55 that you sent out. So it's not that clear. So that's what kind of happens with the TV representation, back in the day, because when we make those adjustments and we're trying to capture the analog signal and convert it into what we are really getting, it's going back and forth. You remember how cloudy and snowy the screens used to be, when you have to dial back and turn them back and move them, and you get the dial set just right for a moment and it's a perfect picture, but then the signal gets distorted. That's a representation of analog. That's what I'm kind of trying to prove. It kind of bounces back from that binary number to another number or another digit, or let's say from 1 to 0. But in that case, I just try to give you a better way to kind of understand it and engage on what exactly is happening in the analog world. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool way to kind of break that down. So however, this is just like I mentioned, just some of the key things that you have to worry about in an analog setting. Some of the noise. What are the noise? What's being transmitted? How accurate is going to relay? So with digital, it kind of truly changed our world quite a bit. They convey information with less noise, less distortion, less interference. So, and the digital circuits can be reproduced as easily. It's not as massive. So of an issue, and the costs are like a lot less as well. So there's some of the major things that I've written down in my paper to discuss. So hope you really enjoyed this video, and look forward to some of the things you have to critique. Had the time to listen to a little bit about what I had to present. Thanks.